Hear ye, hear ye. This is the June 10th, 2015 meeting of the Disability Advisory Commission. God save the great state of California. Please rise if you can. Did I say California again? Must be something, maybe it's a Freudian slip. Well, God save the state of California as well, but God save the state of Arizona. If you can, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, this meeting can only go uphill from here. All right. Okay, we're going to start with the roll call. Take it from my left, Commissioner Van Natta. Commissioner Pashna. Present. Commissioner Vice Chair Stutzman.
Present.
Commissioner Jeffords.
Present.
Commissioner Curtis.
Present.
Okay, for the record, let's please note that the full commission is here. We do have one vacancy. Everybody else is here. Staff members present are Rika Gallagher and Linda Davis. We'll start now with the reports. We'll take it from my right. Commissioner Curtis, do you have anything to report for this evening?
I do not at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Jeffords.
Sure, am I on?
Bottom right.
That
I believe
one?
it's the right, yeah.
Oh, I think I've been pushing the wrong one all this time. I do apologize. I have a couple of things, and I'm going to ask Chair Yeager to help me out here. There is a paratransit meeting that is coming up, and unfortunately I will be out of town. I would have loved to have attended. It's through Valley Metro, and I'm going to ask for our chair to read that.
Okay, Regional Paratransit Plan Meeting. Valley Metro is preparing a regional paratransit plan that will access recommendations from the 2008 Regional Paratransit Study and consider opportunities for greater consistency of services provided. As part of this effort, Valley Metro is reviewing current dial-a-ride services in the East Valley, Northwest Valley, Phoenix, Glendale, Southwest Valley, Paradise Valley, and Peoria. You are invited to a meeting to learn about the study progress and provide input. And that, I believe, is going to be on Tuesday, June 16th, from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. The formal presentation will be at 6:30, and that's going to be at the Disability Empowerment Center at 5025 East Washington Avenue in Phoenix. For additional information or to make accommodations for persons with disabilities, you can contact Dolores Nolan, and that number, her number is 602-523-6070. And if you need a TTY machine, that number is 602-251-2039. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that?
Not about that. The next thing I'd like to mention is I have been alerted to a resource that I wanted to share with the Surprise residents, and it is a free resource for individuals who are needing power/electronic wheelchairs and may need different kinds of adaptations. And I'm going to have John talk a little more about that.
Okay, Wheelchair Labs is located in Phoenix, Arizona, operating as a program of Southwest Community Network. It's a 501c3 nonprofit-based organization. With caring volunteers and community partners, we refurbish, I'm reading as in the first person, we refurbish and repair donated electric wheelchairs and scooters. In addition to designing and building all-terrain personal vehicles, all mobility vehicles are gifted to those who are physically impaired, which include disabled veterans and others in need so they can move freely within their communities and gain better access to jobs, resources, education, and basic needs. Our volunteers go through a repair process to assure that the equipment distributed is fully functional and ready to serve the needs of the less mobile. Contact us for more information about volunteering, financial donations, or donations of mobility devices and parts. And their phone number is 602-439-2953. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that?
No, and I think they have the email address, if that's more efficient for some, info@wheelchairlabs.org. Thank
Okay.
you. And that will conclude my report.
Okay, Vice Chair Stutzman, do you have anything to report?
Yes, I do. About a year ago, I reported on adaptive carts for adults. The only chain in Arizona that had them, they're called Caroline's Carts, was Winco. As you all know, we are getting a Winco here in Surprise. I did contact the manager, and they will also be offering the adult adaptive carts. So what it is basically like the little fire truck cart you would have seen at the supermarket, where you can put someone in and still have a basket. So for an adult with a disabled person or a mentally challenged adult could sit in it, and then the caregiver could push the cart and shop as well. So Winco will indeed be offering those here in Surprise. The second thing I wanted to report on was a follow-up for the QT Station Award for next month. I wanted to confirm with you that I did speak with both the regional office and a local manager, and right now it is the local manager who is going to be attending. His name is Michael Chavez, and he will be accepting on behalf of QT, but it will still read as we had planned on the certificate. The third thing I wanted to mention is there is a new line of toys for disabled children. It's called mymakeys.com. They're sponsored by Toys Like Me, and right now they are offering dolls that come with a cane, that come with hearing aids, cochlear implants, and facial birthmarks. So they're trying to extend the line so that they'll have dolls that can be like children, so that they can feel like that's perfectly normal too, to have a doll to look just like they do. So if anyone that's listening or watching or reading this, again, it is mymakies.com, mymakeys.com. The other thing that I wanted to bring up are that 2 of our commissioners' terms are expiring this month, and just wanted to make sure that they were alerted that they needed, Commissioner Jeffords and Commissioner Poshner need to resubmit their applications so that you have your own term now that you've filled out a month or 2 of someone else's. Or as of July 1st, we can't do any discussion now, but we can add it at the end if we need to. That was just a heads up. The last thing that I have is the City of Surprise is having their crime prevention fair on June 27th, which is a Saturday, from 1 to 5, and it is being held inside in the Public Safety Auditorium. I don't know, although it used the word fair, I didn't get the impression that they're having people set up tables and booths that we could be there. But if someone was planning on attending, we can let them know, as we always need to for quorum purposes, and also just in case someone there was disabled and had a question that maybe we could help out with. If you'd like more information on that, you can check the City of Surprise's website. One thing that I thought was really interesting about it, in addition to all the wonderful speakers they have lined up, is that they're starting a new program with something called anti-theft dots, which are going to be a sticker that you can put on your laptops and different devices like that, so that if they're stolen, they can be tracked by the city of Surprise. You would register your devices with the city to greatly help in reclaiming stolen items. And I believe that that is everything that I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Poshna.
I have no report at this time.
Commissioner Van Natter.
I have no report at this time.
Okay, I'd like to report that I did send a copy of Councilman Winter's email to all of the commissioners, as well as our staff members, Rika and Linda. He congratulated us on doing a fine job overall, and he wanted me to share that email with the gang, so I sent it to everyone. It's good to hear that we are appreciated every now and then. And I just wanted to mention that for the sake of Arizona's public law, that email was sent without discussion to my fellow commissioners and to the staff members. I thank you all for not replying to the email to discuss it any further, unless we have a formal meeting and it's on the agenda. Item 2, the commissioners' terms I was also going to mention. I just wanted to further mention something else that Vice Chair Sussman brought up, is that I just wanted to reiterate that the way it works, even though Commissioner Jeffords, for example, has only been on our commission for a short time, she is taking over the term of the commissioner who was before her. So that's why it seems like, hey, I just joined this thing, and what do you mean now my commission's expiring here? So that's why it happens that way. So the commissioners now whose terms are expiring, all you have to do is apply to Sherry Aguilar, the city clerk, and say you'd like to remain on the commission. And that'll take care of that. On the crime prevention fair, I also looked into that. And yes, it's not exactly a fair, and they are meeting in the auditorium. And if you've ever been in an auditorium, there's really no place for us to set up to advertise. And they all sit, and it's like a movie theater or a college lecture hall, and they all watch. So I didn't think that was appropriate for us to set anything up. But I thank Vice Chair Stutzman, because this is exactly what I need all of us to do, is to keep our eyes and ears open for when an event is happening somewhere, to consider if we can set up a table there. And again, it doesn't, if the event is from 9 in the morning till 5 at night on a Saturday, we don't have to be there all day if we can't get enough of our volunteers who have that ability to do that. But if we can do a few hours there to let people know we're out, we have all the materials ready to go. All we need is for us to coordinate volunteering to do that. So please, again, I reiterate what I did last month, at last month's meeting, to remember to keep your eyes and ears open for that kind of thing, and we can discuss it, or if you can just shoot me an email and give me a heads up, and then I'll contact them, or if you want to contact them, that's perfectly okay, and then bring it up at our next meeting that we're going to have a presence at one of the events that the city has. Okay, there's lots of events going on all the time. Some are appropriate, some are not appropriate, but any kind of big event like the surprise party or the arts event from Wham and stuff like that, it's nice to have a table set up. And with that concludes my report. And since we have people here, before we get to item number 1, I'm going to have the call to the public now. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak? Any comments, suggestions? Are we supposed to include complaints with that, or that's something else? No? Okay. We can? Can't comment on it. Oh, okay. You can complain, but we can't comment on your complaint. So, all right. With hearing no calls to the public, I hereby close the calls to the public. Nicole, Commissioner Jeffers, do you have a comment? Okay. All right. Item number 1. Presentation of the Above and Beyond Award to CrossFit Surprise for providing excellent customer service to patrons with disabilities. Before we move down to present the award, Commissioner Jeffords, I'll leave it to you. Would you like to say anything while have the monitors here and the
Absolutely.
microphone?
Yes. I feel very pleased and privileged to have this opportunity to acknowledge the commitment that CrossFit Surprise has demonstrated to persons with disabilities and all persons that patronize their establishment. I know you wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I have joined many a gym in my life, and I have never experienced the kind of customer service, the kind of support that I have received at CrossFit Surprise. I was really, really astonished, and I just really can't say enough about the friendliness and the commitment that both Mike and Jolene Westerling show to their clientele. Again, I just appreciate it. They stuck with me throughout the workouts. They're watching to ensure that all of the members of their establishment are doing what's needed to do. They're not getting hurt. And again, I encourage anybody at any ability level to, if you're interested in working out and living a healthier life, it's just a wonderful place, and you have caring, supportive staff at CrossFit Surprise. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are not going to adjourn. We're going to keep the cameras rolling so we can get this on televised. And I will ask all our commissioners and staff members, please, if you can recess down into the pit. And if we can have our volunteer people come up, please, who are getting the award. Okay, who's going to be accepting? Anybody else? Yeah. Are you Jolene?
Yes.
Congratulations, thank you very much. You are? Mike. Nice to meet you. Very good. Why don't we step a little together? Everybody took a shower, we can get closer, right? That's a good question.
Vice Chair Stutzman, can you, and Commissioner Kushner, can you
We're
guys
going to do her first, and if you want to wait, and then we'll do you, so we know where to look. Okay? See, we have a professional. She does it from all angles.
There we go, right?
You didn't ask me if my hair looked okay, though.
It looks great.
Looks perfect.
It's
Okay,
perfect.
now
Yeah.
we're looking at it. It's not right up here. Okay? Okay, thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. People, businesses like yours are an asset to Surprise. Okay, very good. It's always a good feeling to give out those kind of awards. I think it's wonderful that the City of Surprise has such businesses that are not only tolerant, but actually do go above and beyond what is required by the American with Disabilities Act, and we're very grateful for that. It does cost businesses a lot of money in a lot of cases. Sometimes not. Sometimes they actually do spend a lot of money to help out with certain things. And it's a good partnership that we have with businesses as such. Okay, without objection, on to item number 2. Discussion pertaining to making arrangements for experts in disability-related topics to speak at local libraries. Commissioner Jeffers, I believe you've taken the point on that.
I am, and I'm going to speak onto a couple things. First of all, I have no firm answers yet. I have made several phone calls, and what I have learned is there is no branch manager right now at the Northwest Regional Library. So I've left some messages, and I'm hoping to hear back to find out who actually is responsible for doing their programming. So I will have more information. I guess I'm asking that this topic again be tabled to the next meeting, and I feel confident that I'll have some more concrete information by then. But at the same time, I also wanted to provide just a little bit of a review and give the new commissioners that are here a little bit of background about why I thought this was a good idea. I moved here a year ago from Virginia Beach, and in Virginia Beach, we didn't have, I worked in the field of blindness, and we didn't have any community resources, so we decided to create them. So we came up with a vision loss symposium, and it was very successful. We ended up having a date scheduled each month, and we tried to keep the talks pretty short, but we would have multiple speakers at each symposium. And we tried to cover different areas, such as psychosocial aspects of blindness, recreation, social, medical. And so it was a very well-balanced program, and it was very successful. So when I came here, I know that there's not a lot in terms of community resources right in Surprise. Obviously, we're a huge metro area, so there's lots of things, but not a whole lot in Surprise. So I was hoping that maybe we could establish this collaboration with the libraries, and we could bring in different topics that are cross-disability. There may be some that end up being disability-specific. One of the other things I did back in Virginia Beach is we created a support group for teens who are blind. And I thought maybe even creating kind of a self-help group for people with disabilities is something that we could look at in the future. So I'm really excited about the potential collaboration. Again, it's just a little bit slow starting, but I am confident that we can create some opportunities for people with disabilities in Surprise to participate and to become more educated about resources. One other thing that I didn't say is that I also am looking at bringing in disability awareness to that. So they do lots of children's programming at the library. If we can maybe come in and have a disability awareness session to the general population, be that kids or adults. So again, that's what I'm looking at, and that was my motivation for creating this topic that's been on the agenda for the last couple of months. And hopefully next month we'll have some more information.
Okay, I have a few questions. I know you said you'd like to table this, and that's fine. So if I could ask Linda, or who is taking the minutes, okay, Linda. So if you can list that again, we're going to table the rest of this, or part 2, let's say, okay? How's that? Commissioner Jeffers, is that all right? Or part 3, right. For our next meeting next month. But I have a couple of questions. First of all, there is nobody in charge at the library right now? They don't have like a head librarian? It must be somebody who tells people what to do.
The person that they gave me was the circulation supervisor.
Uh-huh.
And her first name is Brenda, I believe. I didn't get a last name.
Right.
I also left a message for a gentleman named Antonio, and I'm not sure what his title is. But, you know, I inquired because I ended up calling the central library, and they said that that the programming is typically up to the branch manager. So, but I think they're actively recruiting for that position. That's what it sounded like.
Okay, and also sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's nobody there now who is willing to take the responsibility to schedule something like this and get somebody in like this?
Again, because I haven't talked face-to-face with anybody that actually works in the Northwest Regional Library, I'm not sure.
Oh, those other people were from Maricopa County,
Right.
the
right.
library system. I see. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I would think, you know, if, again, I'm just, you know more about it than I do, but I'm just guessing. If they don't have somebody in charge, they must have somebody at the Northwest Branch Library who can call the shots, have to call the shots. And, you know, if you can get a hold of that person, even if they are temporary, maybe, you know, that person can say yay or nay or talk about a schedule or when they might be available and so on. All right, that's fine. So we'll talk about that at our next meeting. The second question I had is experts. Have you made any contact or do you know of like where you're going to go to see if we can get experts? And I presume that it'll have to be, you know, a gratis kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on what kinds of topics we want to really get into, you know, I'm thinking, I know a lot of people within the community. I think the Arizona Bridge to Independent Living, ABLE, is a really great resource. And even in Surprise over on Bell by Coyote Lakes, I'm sorry, I'm geographically challenged, but there's a DES office, Department of Economic Security, and I believe they house a vocational rehabilitation office. And they're a valuable resource as well. So, you know, it might be a vocational rehabilitation. And actually, my next thought was if I can't get any collaboration from the library is maybe to go into to try to find another community partner such as the DES office where they're serving people with disabilities.
All right, yeah, that's excellent then. So it sounds like we'll be, we have resources for that kind of thing once we get established with the library and once we can plan things then.
Absolutely.
That's right. My final question is a two-pronged thing. First of all, I'm interested about the program that you previously described for teens who have a blindness, maybe in our community. You said that, can you tell me a little bit more about the program that you were part of or that you knew about?
It was the program I created and implemented.
Oh,
and
then you know a lot about it.
I know a lot about it.
Okay.
So again, there was not a lot of local resources, and kids who had visual impairment just were never able to meet with other kids because they might be the only kid in their school or their school district. And the area where in Virginia Beach where I lived was made up of 7 municipalities. So we brought kids together and we tried to make it a self-driven program. So the kids discussed what they wanted to have. We had some pretty strict guidelines because it was run by the city, so couldn't have food and, you know, or if it had to be water and, you know, lots of different, you know, we couldn't have volunteers with the kids that were unsupervised. But they did arts and crafts. When they made these tactile Halloween masks because it was right on Halloween. They had a storyteller come in and talk about doing stories tactily. It was really kind of cool. We brought in a Wii so they could play on the Wii one day. We had like a little...
Excuse me, people with visual impairments can play on the Wii?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I need to be educated on that. Can you explain?
Well,
I thought the Wii was a big...
It is, but the vast majority of people who are visually impaired still have some useful vision. So we had a large TV monitor and, you know, we did virtual bowling for most of the thing. And actually even a totally blind person can do the bowling on the Wii because you don't have to.
Excellent.
You don't have to aim so much.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, we had a talent day and they brought in different instruments and they you know, demonstrated their talents. We had a thing about social skills, and that was really interesting because, again, when you have a sensory impairment like blindness, sometimes you're unaware of the environment around you. So just talking to the kids about, you know, what's socially correct, etiquette, that kind of thing. So again, what was neat about it is the kids, again, they created the agenda and the program so that it was something that they were interested in coming to. And I think it was a great experience, and I think the kids all learned a great deal from it.
Excellent. The second part of that question I had for you, because let me just explain for our fellow commissioners and for anybody who might be watching. The City of Surprise very seriously takes the Open Arizona meeting law. They take it very seriously. So we're restricted from discussing and debating things, even one-on-one sometimes, and it's just not. It's a good law because in the spirit of things, you don't want to do any deals behind the back. Otherwise, I would catch you after this meeting and talk to you personally about it. But since that might not actually be in the spirit of the law, I do want to bring it up now. And this is not only for Commissioner Jeffers, but for everybody, including our staff members, if you can, if you have any comments about this. I think we may be able to work out something where maybe I can work with you to establish a similar sort of program. And we're going to have to put this, I have a feeling, on the agenda for next time. But as you probably know, I play a guitar. I'm a retired music teacher, and I play with a lot of other people. And I think maybe what we could do is see if we can get together with the library and have some sort of musical thing for children who have vision impairments. And I understand what you're saying about you want them to introduce themselves to other children who do not have visual impairments. So we could open it up to other things where we could present the program. I'll have to give it some thought, and that's why I'm going to ask to put it on the agenda for next week. If you think this is a good idea, Commissioner Jeffers, where we would present some maybe folk music or campfire stuff, sing-alongs, a lot of sing-alongs, story songs, and songs that have a story, and then you teach the song and go back to the story and things like that. And we'd have to kind of have to figure out an age group as well. You mentioned teens, and that's fine, but we'd have to narrow down and focus a little bit on that. Would that be something that you might be interested in?
Exactly what I had in mind, except I would go cross-disability because our community isn't quite as large as some of the others. I think in order to get participation that we should do cross-disability. And it is amazing to see, I've worked a lot with transition-aged kids with blindness and with other disabilities, and sometimes we've been hesitant, if you have a student with a developmental disability versus a student who's just visually impaired, are they going to mesh? Is it going to be a disturbing thing? And honestly, it's amazing because the kids that have more abilities will help the kids with less abilities, and they actually get a real sense of accomplishment and helping, and it's a really great thing. So I think opening something like that to kids with all disabilities would be amazing.
As well as non-disabled children, is that
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, yep.
Excellent. So can I ask us to put that on the agenda for a cross-disabilities performance? What should we call that? Do you have an idea? Or we don't need now. I mean performance or things to get them with non-disabled children, and we can have it at the library. That'll be a children's program. There we go. Okay, Rika and or Linda, if we could put that for children's programming at the library, which I'm sure we can get as a free venue. And I'd like to ask our other commissioners, since we have a month now to give this some thought, I certainly need to give it some thought, but if you have any other ideas, please brainstorm at our next meeting. Let's see if we can come up. I don't know everyone here what your full background is or what your private skills are and that kind of thing, whether it be storytelling or arts and crafts or something. Please think about it, and maybe what we could do is talk about that to establish, just like Commissioner Jeffers did, we can establish a program for our youth and have it across, I like that, cross disabilities, and we can have non-disabled children. And they have that room I've been in before. I don't know if you've been there, but at the Northwest Regional Library has a very big room. I think they call it the Arizona room. And it's quite large, so it can hold a lot of people for something like that. And I'm sure I can get some other people involved to do some story songs, some singing along, and stuff like that for different ages. So if any of you has some sort of hidden talent that we don't know about, or know of somebody who might have some sort of talent that we could participate in this, please research it, I ask you, this month, and we'll talk about it next month. That sounds like an exciting program that we may be able to start. So that sounds excellent, wonderful. Okay. Anything else on that, Commissioner Jeffers, then? So we're going to table, we're going to table two, excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're going to table two things. One is the discussion for getting experts to lecture at our local library to give some sort of presentation. And you're going to find out the rest of that. Hopefully we'll find somebody at the library who can make that commitment. And then two, the other item on the agenda will be a Cross Disabilities Children's Program.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, anything else on that from any commissioner? Okay, without objection, going on to item number 3. Discussion pertaining to the DAC materials to be updated and copied for public events. Unfortunately, I ran out of the house late today and I don't have them in front of me, but with the help of Linda and Rika, I think we have enough to discuss. There is a DAC brochure which we give out whenever we participate at events. I think it's I remember when we first created it, I believe in 2012, and it's an ongoing kind of thing. So I don't think that needs to be changed around or rewritten, but I would like to have the dates on that brought up to speed, and especially now next month is July, so the fiscal year would be 2015, 2016. So Rika and Linda, is it possible to get some of those printed out? Just changing the date on that? What I would ask, in fact, because I want to get the rest of our commissions in, and again, I apologize for not bringing them. I have a whole bunch of them in my garage that I just grab when we go out somewhere. But I do want, especially our new commissioners, to feel involved in this. So we'll see if I can bring those next time, but and we'll discuss it and vote on it next time. We'll give you the opportunity to see this brochure that I'm talking about. And I think it only has to be updated for the dates for the 2015-16 year. However, if any commissioners feel you'd want to add or subtract or reword anything, that will be the time to do it at our next meeting. And then it'll be ready to go, and then I can count on Rika and or Linda to recreate a new one, at the very least with the new date on it. There was a wonderful handout that Vice Chair Stutzman created from the Motor Vehicle Department about how the steps needed to get a disability placard or license plate. And I love to tell this story, so I'm going to tell it one more time. We had an event, I think about 2 years ago, I think it was, and we were sitting at a table, and this was the first time Commissioner Stutzman it was when she first created these things, and we gave them as handouts. And lo and behold, we had a person who came up to us and said, yeah, I tried to get a placard for I can't remember now if it was a father or grandfather who's disabled, but they told me that I couldn't have one because I'm not disabled and I'm the one who drives, and her father or grandfather, was too elderly to drive or too, not able to drive, but she couldn't get one. And when I said to her, well, actually, I have a very nice presentation here to give you, taking Vice Chair Stutzman's credit, and said, here, take a look at this. And I'm telling you, that's actually not true at all. You are entitled to get one. If you have that person in the car, you can get a disability parking placard or well, I don't think it's license plate. I think it's just placard, as I recall. And you have to have, there's a procedure that they have to have for getting them done by getting a doctor's certification and so on, and going to the motor vehicle and so on. But it can be done. And the reason why I love this story so much, because as she listened to me explain just briefly what the procedure is, and I gave her the information on the handout, she stood there with her mouth open and she said, I work for the Department of Motor Vehicles. And I asked my supervisor about that, and she's the one who told me, no, if you don't have a disability yourself, you can't get one. So if that's the case, then I can't imagine how many other of our citizens are facing the same thing. So that's certainly something I would like to get, and I'll ask Commissioner Vice Chair Sussman, since you did such a magnificent job, if between now and next month, if you want to just double check to make sure the DMV is exactly the same procedures, if there's anything new, and if not, we can just reprint some of those, okay? But not next time. I mean, next time we'll authorize the printing of some more of those, and if so, then we can rewrite those, and I'll make sure that I bring it for all of our commissioners next time for you to take a look at. I think, by the way, these things for commissioners, if you want to get a heads up, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure they're on our resources page on the website. So if you want to take a look, you will be able to see these things ahead of time, but I'll bring the hard copy next time, okay? And Vice Chair Stutzman also did a wonderful presentation on the fair housing, and as I recall, that was primarily a PowerPoint presentation, but it's something that we did have handouts for. We printed it up. And again, Vice Chair Stutzman, if I can ask you just to take a quick look-see at that, and I know that's on the website, on the surprise.org, .gov website. And if there's anything you need to update on that, and again, other commissioners, if you have any input you want to put on that, that'll be fine. And I'll bring hard copies of that next meeting as well. And then we'll take it from there and see if anything needs to be reworded, added, subtracted, or if not, like I say, I have a feeling that it might, at least the brochure, we just have to update the date, and it's no big deal then, and then we could just print out some more of those, so when we are a presence at one of the events, we'll have it all ready to go. Any other comments, suggestions, or since we're going to have to table this due to my fault, is there anybody has any have any other ideas of a handout other than the ones we just got last week for the what do we call those, promotional items? Other than giving out promotional items, anybody have any other ideas for a handout? And if not, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to think about it this month, all commissioners, if you have any other ideas, or if you want to write up anything for us that we can consider next month, that should be a very good handout for people who have disabilities in our community that we can give out. We can certainly discuss that, and if we come up with a wording, or if you want to come up with the wording first, and we can approve that, then we can have that done all at the same time. Okay, without objection, unless anybody has any other comments or suggestions. Commissioner Jeffers, do you have a comment?
Just a quick suggestion. I think if we could have paratransit applications available, I know we could probably call Valley Metro and get a supply. I think that would be really beneficial. The other thing, I'm not sure if it's currently in print, and I will check this out before the next meeting, is the Arizona Bridge to Independent Living used to have a survival guide to disability, and that was a resource directory of sorts. So I will check and see if that's something that we could get, 50 copies of or something to have on our table.
Right. That's good. She brought up a good point. I guess I should have mentioned this for our other commissioners. It doesn't have to be our idea of a handout, but it can be something that already exists from any other organization that will affect or that can apply to residents of the city of Surprise. Now, we have to focus on the people who live in the city of the Surprise. So we can't do that for the whole world yet. But the paratransit thing, can I ask you to see if you can get delivered, I don't know, 100 applications or whatever, explain to them who we are and so on? And that would be terrific. And again, if any of you know of any other organization or any other place that has information that they would like to have given out, I don't see any reason or any conflict at all why we can't give those out as well. I know there's one, in fact, let me just make a note of it. I'll contact them myself. I wonder if Rika, who's been around with me for a while on this, do you remember the name of the camp for disabled children? Yeah, something with a T. I can't pronounce it. Tati? Yes. I have that brochure home somewhere. I'll have to dig for it. But I'll contact them for next time and see if I can get some brochures delivered to me, and I'll bring them as well if they can do it by next month, and we can give that out. This is a camp, and I don't want to butcher up the name of it. It's an Indian name, isn't it? Sure. Yeah. Not that I wouldn't butcher up an English-speaking name, but it's a camp for disabled children in the state of Arizona. But they came and made a presentation to us, I think it was like 2 years ago or so, maybe even a little longer. And they also give out scholarships for children who are in Surprise. So it definitely affects the residents of Surprise. So I'll do that. So that's the kind of thing I'm asking other commissioners to do. If you can come across any other ideas or any other organizations, please take it upon yourself to give them a call and see if you can get any brochures, and then we can give them out at our table.
One other organization I'd like to suggest, and if I say it now, then I'll be accountable to actually provide it. So the Arizona Braille and Talking Book Library provides book services to anybody that has a print disability. So if you can't hold a book, if you can't read a book, you know, it's a valuable resource, again, for people who have had strokes, for people who are visually impaired, for people who can't read for other reasons, cognitive disabilities. Again, they give you a free player, and now they've gone digital, so they're digital books. They can be downloaded. There's an app for the iPhone or the iPad. It's an amazing service. I would be lost without it. And so I'll make sure we have some of those applications as well to distribute.
Commissioner Jeffers, it's so wonderful having you on this commission. That's you're a wealth of information tonight. Excellent. I just want to clarify one thing. Did you say there's an application that you can get, and then they have to?
The application has to be certified by a doctor or other professional. So
okay.
It's a pretty basic application though, and
right.
But to have those for public consumption, I think would be great.
Yeah, so again, if you wouldn't mind calling them and tell them who we are and exactly what we would be doing with that, and then see if they can give you 50 or 100 or so or whatever you think is an appropriate amount. And we can certainly give that out at our meetings and stuff. Not at our meetings, but at different events we'll participate in. Okay, any other comments or suggestions on that? Moving right along, item number 4. Discussion and action to appoint the chair and the vice chair with terms effective of July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2016, the fiscal year. As I mentioned in our last meeting, this is the time to vote for who is going to be the chairperson of our committee, our commission, and the vice chairperson. No matter, let me just finish, please. No matter whatever your term of appointment has nothing to do with this. The chair and the vice chair are traditionally, and I think as a matter of policy, voted on by the commissioners once a year for the fiscal year July through June of the following year. So it doesn't matter what your term is right now. You can still participate in that if you wish. I think the way we're going to do this, and then I'll take Commissioner Jeffers' question, but what I'd like to do is first do nominations for the chairman of the, chairperson of the commission. And with that, you are able to nominate yourself, and if you'd like to explain why you'd like to become the chairman, that'll be fine. And if you'd like to nominate someone else, and again, you don't have to, but if you want to explain why you'd like to nominate that person, that'll be fine. And then we'll take a vote on that, and then we'll move on to the same procedure for the vice chair. Commissioner Jeffers.
I just wanted to state as a point of clarification, because it's come up several times tonight, that I believe Commissioner Poshner and I have both submitted our paperwork to extend our terms. So
okay.
that was done several weeks ago.
That's fine, but as of now, you're still a commissioner from the old term. So your new term, did they say when the new term? I think it's going to be 4 years, so I presume 2019? That you they didn't mention it? Yeah, it'll probably be 2019 when your commission is up. Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, can I hear if anybody would like to nominate themselves or somebody else for chairman of the Disability Advisory Commission. Commissioner Poshna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to nominate myself, and I'm doing this because I've grown up my whole life with a disability. I know a lot of what it takes to live with a disability. I know the hardships that disabled citizens face. I know how we can overcome them, and I think I'd be a valuable asset to this committee.
Okay, any other comments? Any debate? Anybody else like to nominate themselves or anybody else? Going once? Going. All right, well, it seems to me like if there's nobody else who's nominating themselves or anybody else, it seems like it's a moot point, but we still need to take a vote on it. So, all in favor of Commissioner Stutzman?
Do we need a nomination to make a motion before we vote?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, then I second
Oh, okay. I see.
his
I'm sorry.
self-nomination before we vote.
Okay, so the motion is put on the table by Commissioner Poshna to be the new chairman of the Disability Advisory Commission, second by Vice Chair Stutzman. All who would like to vote for Commissioner Poshna to be the next disability chairperson, of the Disability Advisory Commission with the term starting July 1st, 2015, ending June 30th, 2016, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion is hereby carried. Congratulations. Chair-elect Commissioner Poshna. You'll take over at our new meeting. I pledge my full support to you, doing whatever I can to bring you up to speed. If there's anything you need, please feel free to send me factual information by email, or if you'd like to call, and we can do that. We cannot discuss anything to debate, but I can certainly willing to give you all the resources that I've accumulated. And I will say now, I'm thinking about one. I have a few at home for press releases and stuff like that, contacts when we contacted the media to do things like that. So between now and your next meeting, I'll share those with you by email so you can have it. And if there's anything else you can think of, I pledge my support for that.
Thank you for that, Mr. Chair.
Congratulations. Okay, moving along. For the vice chairperson of the Disability Advisory Commission, do we have anybody who would like to nominate somebody or nominate themselves? And if you like, you can explain why. Okay, I would like to nominate Vice Commissioner Stutzman to take over the Vice Commissioner again. I think she is a very, very smart person who has put a lot of time, even as a commissioner, into this organization. I know she has a full thing on her table, but in actuality, as I explained at our last meeting, the only additional responsibility she would have is if the new chairperson is absent, she would run the meeting. So I would like, if she would accept it, I would like to nominate Vice Chair Stutzman to become the new Vice Chair for the next fiscal year. And on top of that, she's absolutely a lovely person, despite her profession, which is a lawyer. But that's okay.
And I would like to second that nomination.
Second the nomination. Would you accept that, Vice Chair?
The clarification that I have is I know one of the duties of the chair and vice chair is to attend the interviews for vacancies. And these in the past have happened during the day. And I do know that our chair-elect also has a full-time job and works during the day, so it would be the vice chair that would step in on that. And because I work full-time as well, I would not be able to do something like that, as well as any daytime symposiums or different things where we were supposed to have a presence. we then would have both members of the executive committee that work during the day. So if there is someone else who is interested because of that, and in addition to the fact that I don't myself have a disability, that there might be someone who feels that they might be a better person. So with those two caveats, if we could take a moment for the other commissioners to perhaps chew on that, and if none of the new ones are ready, perhaps our current chair would step in as vice chair. But if I'm incorrect in those statements, if the staff could make any clarifications about those kind of daytime commitments.
Actually, I can. I know for the first caveat, we've ran into this problem before as during my chairmanship. Two things can be done. First, the person who is being interviewed, they can try to rearrange it so that they're interviewed at an hour that's appropriate for one of the members of the Disability Advisory Commission to attend. So I'm sure that could be, I'm not sure, but it can be arranged at night if the commissioners who are on the committee to appoint the commissioners, if the council member, if the council people who are on the committee can, to appoint the council member, if they can do that, they will. Secondly, if they cannot, what traditionally happens in the past is that the council members who are on the committee or through the clerk will tell the commissioner, the chair of our commission, that they are invited to come to listen and participate if they like, if it's at the will of the council on future interviews. However, they also clearly say that if you can't make it, please ask the vice chair, and if the vice chair can't make it during the time that they can't change, then please feel free to send any other commissioner who can make it, and just let us know who's coming. And then you can ask any of the other commissioners. So that's, the first caveat is not anything to worry about. If you can make it, great, and if you can't, then you just tell the chair, and the chair can open it up to all of us in an email saying, here's what the situation is, and if you can make it, please let me know. And then the chair will notify the appropriate council people. Okay, what was the second caveat? I went on so long about the first.
My not suffering, I'm very, very sorry. That was terrible. I didn't mean to use the word suffer. I myself do not experience a disability, and as Chair-elect just stated so eloquently, having experienced that, he felt that made him, and as we just saw with Commissioner Jeffords, having all these valuable resources because she herself has utilized them. If anyone on the commission thought that it would be better served for someone who is experiencing a disability to hold that position, that would be something for them to think about.
I think that's very gracious of you, Vice Chair. Technically, you do not have to have a disability to be on this commission, obviously. So that's okay. But I understand, I think you're very gracious by putting that out there for the rest of us. And does anybody have any more nominations or people you'd like to nominate, including yourself? Any more discussion on this? Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we elect Vice Chair Stutzman to another term, full term this time, for the Vice Chair of the Disability Advisory Commission. Do I hear a second? Oh, okay. Commissioner Jeffers seconds that. You want to put your microphone on?
I second that.
Okay, let's take a vote, please. All who voted for Vice Chair Stutzman to continue on for the 2015-16 fiscal year as Vice Chairman, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Congratulations. Vice Chair Stutzman, you've been re-elected to that position. Okay. Without objection, moving on to item number 5. Discussion and action pertaining to the approval of the May 27, 2015 Disability Advisory Commission. I don't know, whenever we do this, I always make sure to ask that everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from last time. Almost never is there any serious mistake. It might be a typo here and there that we bring up, but we can still vote it on and go ahead. Once in a while there's something that was missing or whatever, but by and large that's fine. Unfortunately, I had a problem reading it myself today online. It wasn't listed. Yeah. So I wasn't able to get that. Now, can I ask anybody else if, did everybody read that, or did anybody else have the same problem?
I was not able to access it online either.
Okay. Commissioner Jeffords, were you able to do it?
I read it as part of the email attachment that Linda sent.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I emailed you to ask you about, or to notify you about that, you said that it was in the body, and now I'm just realizing now it was in the body of the email, not in the body of the website, on the website. So it's not. You have been. Did you tried it? Because I tried it a little while ago,
Yeah,
and I still couldn't get it. Yeah, well, all right, well, since, I'm just curious, Commissioner Curtis?
I did read it through the email.
Through the email?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Poshna?
I read the email.
I also read it through the email.
I guess I'm a little in the minority here. Commissioner Van Netta, you going to save me from embarrassment?
Yes, I read it also.
She's not. I know where your loyalties lie. Okay. All right. Since, though, at least two of us did not get to read it yet, can I ask that we table this till next time? And I'll make sure to go back and retrieve that email. Commissioner Stutzman?
I'm
Vice Chair
comfortable
Stutzman?
if the other, it's more than a majority that have read it, and they were all present before this came up, and they weren't present at the meeting, so they wouldn't have been able to point out mistakes. But I'm comfortable not having to table it if the commissioners who did read it want to share what they found, if anything.
Yeah, except that you're probably right, and it's probably, not a big point, but I didn't get a chance to see it, so I would have to abstain, and which would still leave a majority if they all vote to do it. But I'd still like the opportunity to just take a look and to see if there's something that I might point out. So without objection then, can we put this on our next agenda to approve the minutes for the May 27th meeting, as well as tonight's meeting minutes, and we can do that at our next meeting. Okay? I'm sure I can retrieve the email you originally sent, and when I do, if I have any more trouble, then I'll let you know. Okay? And we'll work it out between now and the next month. Okay? That'll be fine. Okay. Can we move on without objection? Any other comments? Okay, last item number 6, discussion and action pertaining to future agenda items. Does anybody, can we just review what we have from our staff, just to review for next month's meeting? Okay, and that, who is the point person on that? Is that Commissioner? Vice Chair Stutzman. Can you contact the people to make sure they can come to receive that?
Yes, I reported on that in my report at the beginning of the
Oh,
meeting.
yes, you did. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, at this point, I'm going to ask any other commissioner if you have anything that you would like to bring up, discuss, introduce. Remember, because of Arizona's open meeting law, we can't do that without notifying the public in an agenda, which our capable staff always is on the ball and putting that out. So anybody else has anything else they'd like to add to next month's agenda, please speak now. Vice Chair Stutzman?
There was talk of perhaps having Joe Gladio from the Surprise Recreation come in and give a presentation on their adaptive recreation program, which is fantastic. It does not necessarily have to be the next meeting, since we do have quite a few things on, but perhaps we could, and if it needed to be myself, perhaps we could check with Joe as to what month would be best for him to come in and do that. And Rika?
Joe Gladio has been reassigned out of CRS. He's now with the Neighborhood Services Department.
Excuse me, is there a microphone there? Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Oh, okay. If you can speak up.
So, as a result, I don't know who's taken his place for the adaptive rec program, but we can find out if there's somebody that can come and speak about the adaptive rec program, that what's currently going on.
Okay.
But Joe is not the contact.
Oh, that's too bad. Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask you, Rika, if would you be able to within the next month find out, and is it possible, do you think, to invite them for the next meeting to come and give us a little presentation? Right, I don't know if they can make it next month or not.
I can't say,
Ah, yes, yes, okay.
I suspect they're going to be a little on the busy side.
All right, I tell you what then, how about this then, because I don't want to ask you to do anything else. I know you're very busy with a lot of other things. So can I ask you to just find out the name for me and then email it to me when you get it? And if you have the email contact or telephone number, I'll get in touch with that person and I'll see if I can pin them down to some kind of future meeting. It won't be next month, but I'll see if I can pin them down, even if it's in September or October. And then I'll report back on it at our next meeting, and then we'll put that on a future agenda. How's that? Sound like a plan? Okay. Commissioner Jeffers, I still see the thing. Do you have any comments?
No.
Okay. Anyone else like to put anything else on the commission? And I want to encourage our newer members, please remember you are a full voting member. There are no secondary citizens in this commission. And if anybody else likes to speak. Oh, okay. Commissioner Van Natter.
Yes, I would like to volunteer if you would like for me to speak with the person over who took Joe's place. My sister is deeply involved in all of the adaptive activities, and I would be more than happy to take that on if you would like for me to do that, to call and see who it is. I can also ask the workers. They're in the bowling this summer, and we go again on Tuesday night, and I can ask the staff from that program who is now leading it since Joe is no longer there.
Excellent. Then can I ask Rika to just direct that email to Commissioner Van Natter? Okay, so Rika will email you that, and then see if you'll meet that person or contact them. And again, you can send her the email and the telephone number and see what you can find out. And if you happen to see them in person, that'll be great. I don't know who this person is. I don't know how much experience that they have or how long they've been around the City of Surprise, working for the City of Surprise. So if they're a newbie, so to speak, maybe you can just explain, who we are, what we're doing, and that if they come, they'll, to give out information, they'll be televised, and that'll get the word out for that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right, how's that?
That sounds wonderful.
All right, then you can report on that next meeting. And again, if you wouldn't mind, when you talk to them in person or however, see if you can pin them down for when. And it could be after the summer, because as Rika pointed out, I didn't think of that, with all the stuff that's going on in the summer and kids are out of school and so on, maybe it's a rough time, I don't know. So if it's September, October, whatever month that they can make it, and just remember we're meeting on the second Wednesdays of every month. So if you need to look at a calendar to commit them, then you can figure that out, second Wednesday of every month. and then you can report on that on our next meeting.
Wonderful.
Okay?
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, looks like we have a good agenda, but not to discourage anybody. Commissioner Curtis, anything for the next agenda?
Yeah, I do not at this time.
Commissioner Jeffers, you have a Phil thing. Anything else you can think of?
No.
Vice Chair Stutzman?
Nope, I'm good.
Vice Chair, what is it? What do we call this? Chair-elect Pashna?
Not at this time.
Okay, and Commissioner Van Natta?
No, not at this time.
All right. Without objection, if there's nothing else, I think we completed our meeting tonight. And I want to thank you all for doing such a wonderful job. I very much enjoyed being the chairperson, and I think it's great that we have a new chair coming on board, I hope with fresh, new, younger ideas to lead us over the course of the next year. I look forward to still participating and helping in any way I can. And I just want to say thank you very much for your vote of confidence. And without objection, I'm going to make a motion. Oops, we have Commissioner Stutzman.
Before I make a motion to adjourn, I would like to give my personal thanks and tell you that it was a pleasure serving with you on this board. And for those of you who didn't have the opportunity to serve with Chair Yeager, he has gone above and beyond, not to steal our catchphrase, but we wouldn't be here probably if it weren't for the work that he's done. So I think he deserves a round of applause.
Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that.
And then I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I second.
Oh, you made the motion to, I thought she said, and then I make a motion. Okay, so she made the motion. Do I hear a second to adjourn? Second. Motion has been made to adjourn and seconded by Commissioner Jeffers. So I hereby declare this meeting, the Disability Advisory Commission, adjourned. Thank you.